because I Googled this from the International Association of Firefighters, and I think the document is fair. I'm going to quote you what it says, okay? And I think you guys, a lot of you guys are trying to say that to us with a little bit of caveat of your own, okay? But this is a fair statement that touches my heart. And so it says, however, we simply don't know at this time what the possible health consequences of long-term exposure to low-intensity RF MW radiation of the type used by the cell phone base stations and antennas will be. No one knows. The data just aren't there. I mean, basically, I think this you're trying to tell us, right? No one knows. The data just not there.
Right.
Yeah.
So that resonates with me. So if you guys would just say that and quote what I found on the internet, it would be more convincing. So I did meet a few parents, and I told them to bring data, to bring proof. And Nancy said, you guys are telling a lot of things, but nothing really comes to us as proof, right? You believe this, your expectations are this. It's hard for me to say what do I want to believe, but I always tell people there are no wrong parents, because whatever you say, whatever you do, you care about your kids, and I care about your kids, and I truly do, and I hope when I see teenagers, I hope they know. I think most of them know I truly care about them. We would never make a decision that's going to be harmful to our kids that we believe in. And I really want to say I am a little disappointed on the noise that you make when my fellow board members are talking, because we want to listen to you, and I think you want to listen to us. This is a deliberation time. This is the time we communicate with each other. Actually, by law, we could not communicate with each other unless it's an open meeting. So this is really the first time we're talking to each other. We listen to each other's opinions. So actually, Bill, Nancy, and Jeff, and Rennie, and Barbara, they don't know what I'm going to say, because we're not allowed to talk. The three of us are not talk out of open meetings, because we want to make decisions in an open meeting, so that this is the time for us to communicate. What do I think? What does Bill think? What does Jeff think? What does Nancy? What does Barbara think? That's when you have 5 board members, and Rennie too, our student board member. That's when you have 5 individuals here. And I hope you think that you elected the intelligent, independent thinkers that could make decisions on your behalf, okay? So what I'm trying to say is, really, everything that we see, that we believe is from our own perspectives. Just cell phones, we're talking about cell phones. You tell me this cell phone looks like this. I'm telling you it has guts. So you're saying I'm lying because you're not seeing what I'm seeing, right? So really, to be respectful of other people's opinions, I think it's the most important thing. And I really would like to urge you to do that. And we are listening. I mean, we're here to listen. That's why you're here, and it's almost midnight. Okay, and I'm really grateful you guys are here, and I'm really grateful to hear what you have to say. So my point in the end is, I would love to, like Nancy said, if there's an alternative way to do this, to satisfy you and get receptions, I'd be more than open to listen to that. And safety is, okay. So I don't know who to listen to. The parents say, oh, we have enough cell phone. The kids, well, at least one of them said, I don't have cell phone in Cupertino High School. So I would love to have these receptions. I don't know who is right around, because you're in a different place, maybe you're in the hotspot, I don't know. But I really want to say, I want to defend our kids. I mean, it brought tears to my eyes when you boo them, when you say there's a conspiracy, like what would they get from being friends with Verizon? I don't know. Okay, so they're not being paid to talk on Verizon's behalf. So my heart feels for them. Okay, they have the right to say things too. Okay, and so if you listen to somebody else's opinion, and I just feel bad for our kids, and I know Randy here feels bad too. Okay. So anyway, my preference is to do a little bit more further research. Are there alternative sites that could satisfy the safety of our community, and also, make you happy, okay? Because I know when you ask that question, can you be 100% sure that there's nobody can raise their hands because you cannot be 100% sure. I cannot be 100% sure I'm gonna be still living tomorrow, okay? So, who's, that's not a fair question to ask, actually, okay? I can ask you, are you 100% sure there is damage? You probably can't raise your hand either. So that's not a fair question to ask. We have to be fair to everybody. And I love you guys because I know you think I represent it, and I do, and I'm gonna try my best to represent you, okay? But there are the facts are not supporting what you say, but I just said, we don't know. There's no data out there. So actually, I'm gonna quote one more thing it says. The only reasonable and respectable course to do is to conduct a study of the highest scientific merit and integrity on the RFMW radiation health effects to our membership. I mean, that's just, it's not there. It's just not there. So I'm conflicting as Nancy because I would love to be able to provide cell towers, cell phone reception to everybody. I have Verizon, but I was hoping that you guys would understand if we make a decision, we make a decision to the best knowledge that we have, okay, to the best ethical standards, and we love your kids. We'll never make a decision that's going to conflict with kids according to what we believe, or at least I can say according to what I believe. So the questions being asked to me, emailed to me, that if I have my own kids in Cupertino, would I make the same decision? Whether yes or no, I'm going to tell you yes, I will make the same decision. Whether I vote yes or no, okay, if I work at the schools, would I make the same decision? If I live within 300, 500 feet of South House, would I make yes? I'm going to tell you yes. And I have one question to ask the staff, actually. When AT&T came to Bonavista Vista, it never came to the board, right? Because I wasn't on the board.
There was a discussion with the board, but it was never voted before.
And where is it now? I think they did set up.
There's a tower at the old Measurex building.
Okay, so the AT&T of 2005, I wasn't on the board, and so I want to clarify that. And now they still set up something in on the.
But they pulled out a discussion. We did not.
We were having the only thing that happened with the board was a preliminary presentation, and there was a great deal of input from the community as well as from AT&T.
And truthfully, if you measured the distance from AT&T's placement to Monte Vista, it's probably the same as if they would have put them on the lights on the football field.
So right now it's on the Measurex site, on the AT&T South House. Okay. So I just want to clarify because I wasn't on the board. I didn't know where
when you find a spot, you need a spot.
So I'm just really curious, if we make a map of our whole area, of all the cell towers, where are they? I don't know the answer. I think they're everywhere. I probably live within 500 feet of one. Okay, so that's
maybe not because you live in Monte Vista
I'm just gonna say, this
which is not great either.
No, it's not.
So, thanks for listening.
Ms. Wade, I had a lot of data over here. I don't know I can give it to you. Since you are talking about data, I can just give you a copy too.
Sure, thank you.
Alright, I will keep this short and sweet because I still have AP homework to do when I get home. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out, and I know a lot of people reached out to me from the Limber community. I know Will's mom is in the audience today, and she really told me a lot of different things that I didn't hear before, so thank you for that. The first thing that I wanted to address was a question that I heard from the parents about students using cell phones at school. Some teachers do prohibit using cell phones in class, but that doesn't mean that you can't use it at brunch or you can't use it at lunch. I will say that I have been using my cell phone in over 4 classes so far as a senior in class. And this is not because I'm texting under the table, it's because we're working on interactive programs. When we're doing the budget challenge, when we're doing stock simulations, it's all these interactive things that we're trying to embed into curriculum. It's not because we're trying to cheat or to hurt students. So that's just something that I wanted to say from a student perspective, and I'm sure your children can agree with me on this one. The other point that I wanted to make was no service. So someone mentioned that you may get service when you're at Lindbergh or Cupertino. That's typically off hours. So when you have about 2,000 people trying to access the same service at the same time, the quality deteriorates, and you're not going to get the service that you need. Ironically, in the report that I gave to the board today, one of the students took a screenshot of his phone to show the Cupertino map. And in the top left corner, it says no service, showing that there was no service even when he took this picture for the board report. So, I mean, this is just something to make a note of. The other thing that I just wanted to say was this underlying message that we all have, which I think is fear. It's the fear of our kids getting hurt or students like me getting hurt. But at the end of the day, we're all here for a couple people, for one group of people, which are the students. And I feel like the way that the students were treated today was completely inappropriate. Those students didn't have to be here today. They actually didn't even come here to speak. It is not a conspiracy. I will bet my life on that. But I'm just saying that those students took the time to be here, and they were voicing their opinion. And the way we reacted to that was in no way professional. So if we ever want to be able to respect other people and listen to them and listen to you, we also have to do the same in return. So now I'd like to take a step away from being the student board rep. Hello, I'm Ronnie. I'm a senior at Lindbergh High School. I spend more than 8 hours a day on campus working for different organizations after school, before school. I'm a genomics and genetics researcher at Duke University after school. I interned there over the summer. So I do have a pretty good understanding of what it's like in terms of genetics and the biology behind this. But I just want to say that students are in no way different from you guys who are standing here today. At the end of the day, I just think more questions need to be asked. We need more data. We need more evidence to come to a conclusion. I don't know which side I am on, which side I'm on right now. And I think Ms. Noonan and Ms. Way brought up a lot of great points, and they have a lot of things that need to be reconsidered. But right now, I think there are a lot of different things, a lot of different questions that still need to be asked.
Well, I too want to thank you. I know that I had to be sort of the hard guy tonight, but I really needed to move it along. I needed to try to be fair. I needed to go along with the kinds of rules that we need to operate under. And so I hope you appreciate that from that standpoint. One of the things I've been thinking about when I knew that this was on the agenda and I had heard there was a lot of things up at the city council in Cupertino, I wondered if people were this concerned when electricity was put in. That people were putting in wires years and years ago across people's backyards and, you know, big towers. I lived under those kinds of towers, multiple lines of electricity, when I lived up in the Monte Vista attendance area by Hanson Cement. And I just kind of wondered if that was what we were doing. And not to say that it wasn't good to sort of think about that, but it probably was as foreign a technical thing at that time than it is now, and sort of an unknown thing at that time than it is now. And when we were talking today about the safety, not just the safety of being able as a district to get a hold of you if you've listed your cell phone on our enrollment sheets, but for kids to be able to talk to people and let you know that they're safe or whatever, even as they're going home and don't have good coverage in those areas, that's pretty important to me. And then I was listening to what the Verizon people had to say because I wanted to know about the technical part of where those radiation or radio frequency wires go. And I think I understood that because honestly, I was the principal at Cupertino High School when they were put in at Cupertino in 2000. And we had some discussions like this. Probably not as intense, because I don't know if we knew that much about it at the time. But when I heard that they went out like this, that they were put up higher than anything else, that they were on the gym, and that the gym wall protected students, and truthfully, students are in the gym, with the exception of some sports teams, maybe an hour a day, not the 8 hours that you're talking about, and somewhat protected, and that they're out on the football field in bleachers where, with the exception of perhaps some PE classes that are sitting out there in the bleachers doing something for the hour that they're in PE, or maybe even less, it's not like these that are going out like that, even if they filter down a little bit, would get in my view, from what I heard, in the gym or at those people that were sitting in the bleachers. So I had to think about that. And then, as Hung said, there's a lot of things out there that we don't know about, and you probably can't bring too much to us about what's gonna happen. And so I have to weigh the safety piece and the kind of thing I heard about the safety piece about what kids can do and what you know about your kids, and then the safety piece of what we heard from the kinds of things that don't seem like they're really going to address directly to kids without maybe 1,000 times more than a cell phone set up to their ear. And I have to think about all those things. And the American Cancer Society, which did make an impact on me too, because I would think of all people who would want to say something negative, they would say something negative, and they didn't. And the last thing is, I thought about, okay, the question that was asked about the increased amount of exposure. We are on contract with those other cell tower providers at those schools. And from what I heard, adding one more is not going to make any difference at all. So we're adding one more, it's not gonna make any difference. It's not gonna make any difference to the ones we already have there, and we are not able to get out of those contracts. So those are all the things that I've been thinking about.
I would like to resonate on one thing that you said, Nancy, about this whole process. And what would have been ideal is if we had this discussion in the summertime or something a long time ago. And I think I'm not criticizing your process, because I sounded like you used a thorough process, but somehow it would have been nice if this all was discussed. I think a lot of what I'm sensing has to do with, we kind of all found out about this fairly recently. So
I can say something to that. I receive notices from Kubuchio all the time. I don't read it, I just throw it into the trash. Some of them might really concern me. So I think that's really common for us just to receive something, what's this, and just throw it away. So I don't know. That's personally, that's what I do. So the city, I think, has regulations of how many residents they need to. So they need to provide notice, how much advance notice. But I do reticence with Jeff. It seems like, the consensus, like I just found out. So I guess, I don't know how to refine the process or do something about it. But it's not, you haven't found out too late, because this is the first time the board actually is deliberating it. So you didn't miss.
However, the board has passed on all the others that are around, and they've been around since 1998.
What was the
Yes,
last time?
we have. My recollection is the parameters of approval were more limited in those days than they are now, but I'm not sure. I thought they were more similar to the city parameters in the early stages, but I'm not sure of that. I think we kind of felt that, but it all has to do with the amount of information we had. You're right, Robert, there wasn't a lot. And another set of good people made those decisions, probably more than one set, because it spans some years.
Yeah, it probably didn't have cell phones as prolific as we do now, and so
Exactly.
people didn't get the news either. So,
The most recent is 2011,
Yeah. But the ones way back.
98 to 2011.
so,
So
all of
I
us,
do have a question for the Verizon people too, because there was discussion of alternatives, and I think when you talked to the city of Cupertino, you talked about 6 alternatives for the Coop side and so on. I'm not sure we really got that explicitly tonight, but Can you say a little bit more about why you were confident that there was not a good alternative?
I don't really know what more I can say. We've been answering that question. For Cupertino, there were a number of sites, Valco, all the shopping centers that were along Stevens Creek, the church, Bethel Church. That Cupertino High School was near an area that potentially had some alternatives.
And that Bethel Church would have actually been closer to the classrooms than the
Yes,
Mike
that, in fact, they would have been closer and closer to the residents.
Yeah.
So that was the alternative analysis that was, presented at the planning commission, again, presented at the city council. After the first planning commission hearing, and there was an appeal, Verizon, we went at it again, just to make sure that we didn't miss anything, or some other opportunity had come up since that time, and there just wasn't anything. We did look, the Main Street came up here, as an alternative, and that is just almost right on top of an existing site that we have. So one of the things that is coming up at the jurisdictional, the different jurisdictions is, because we have been in, since 1999, I've been in this business now for almost 20 years, and it has changed. When we would have, when the cell phones first came out, people, very few people had them. They had them in their cars, they were still on the freeways, and so the search rings were very large areas, and, the radius, you'd have them miles apart, and they were basically shooting, for the freeways. But as we've been coming closer and closer in, and I'm not the person to be talking about this, but, the search rings now are just literally within blocks, because of the extensive use. And I think everybody here in this room here can think about, did you have a cell phone 10 years ago? Probably hardly anybody did. 5 years ago, how many people in this room, people have been asking questions, how many people do not have a cell phone? Raise your hand. Okay, 3. So, this is just the reality that we're in now, is our technology, and that there is, so the alternatives, the search rings are very, very close. The Lynbrook School, there really wasn't any alternatives that were even viable. There were neighborhoods, and anything the closest to that area was actually closer to another search ring and another existing site.